Hi, everyone, and welcome back as we start off a full week of programming, unlike the last here at Your News Today. It's Monday and it's the 8th day of July, and we're glad to have you. Also, glad to have a pretty nice forecast. There was a frontal system over the course of the holiday weekend that ended up giving us some cooler temperatures today, some shower chances for many of us. Only a very few of which are in the forecast tonight. Short and sweet to sum up your forecast with only a midweek slight chance of showers for 24 hours or so. I'll give you that timeline and the rest of the good weather-wise in just a few moments. Glad to be here after the extended holiday weekend. Not in Sagersville, but I do know, I haven't seen it yet, but I do know we had some video taken of the parade and some other festivities that we'll go through and try to bring you as soon as we can. In my absence over the course of the weekend, a lot of things to just get caught up on tonight from around the viewing area and a little bit further out, and a host of other news and information on my radar for the rest of the week beginning tomorrow. I actually started the story last week with the interview, and I'm going out into the field this week, possibly as soon as tomorrow, to talk about the volunteers, which are working very hard here this summer, as they have every summer for the past more than 12 years in McGoffin County to help folks with their homes. Also, a McGoffin or Sagersville woman, Kelsey Spencer, was set to be rearraigned earlier today after originally pleading not guilty in a case where she diluted medications intended for her patients, pain medications, while being employed as a nurse in Johnson County. That hearing was set for 4 o'clock, and I do not have the outcome as of yet. And also something else we're following, of course, while I was gone towards the latter part of last week for the holiday weekend, the McGoffin County Sheriff issuing some public statements in regards to cutbacks of hours and services due to cutbacks financially that his office, he says, incurred through a reduced budget from the McGoffin County Fiscal Court. I've been following that situation actually now for weeks since that started to development. I am also awaiting an audit from the state auditor's office. I have been talking with State Auditor Mike Harmon about the potential or soon to be release of the sheriff's audit. There has not been an audit, I believe, for the sheriff's department now for the past few years, and the state auditor is getting close to releasing that information. That will be a significant part of that story and information, and as soon as we have that in-house, we'll proceed with bringing you a report on that matter, an in-depth one at that. So all of that just to name a few things that are on our radar for the rest of the week and soon thereafter. While being out and out of McGoffin County for a little bit, it was just one story after another. Drownings, things of the like, serious accidents. The 4th of July, of course, a heavy travel period. More folks than usual at any other time of the year. On bodies of water, lakes, going on vacations to the beach and the like. And, of course, an increased amount of travel in that area also means an increased number of accidents and deaths, and that was the case. And as I'm sure most everyone well aware, the 19-year-old that drowned in Round County was one of several people who drowned over the course of the holiday weekend. It happened at Cave Run. Luis Alvarado of Mexico was pronounced dead at the hospital. Luis was pronounced dead after he had been celebrating his 19th birthday in the Cave Run area with some friends. I was told that some friends were actually out of the water while he was in the water on a float and could not swim. There was actually an older gentleman there, I believe, who was floating on a raft and saw the incident when the young man either went down or came up briefly from the water but could not get close enough to help. There were bystanders who were actually there. Everyone formed a line, hand to hand, combed the bank. His body was discovered about 8 feet or so from the rope, I am told, and it was actually a couple of Sagersville residents who did CPR on that young man until EMS arrived, but to no avail. The young man just moved from Mexico and had started employment, I believe, and was celebrating his 19th birthday there in that section of Cave Run. Governor Matt Bevin today announced that the Labor Cabinet is going to start an investigation into Black Jewel LLC. Of course, that's one of the nation's largest coal mining companies who, of course, has shuttered or declared bankruptcy. As I announced just last week, the Labor Cabinet enforces Kentucky's wage payment laws and is going to undertake an investigation into the company's reported failure to pay its employees for time worked. The company issuing a statement that employees would only be paid after they resumed their work after, of course, these proceedings or what have you were settled or they were able to get back to work thereafter. Workers who believe they have not received full wages due to Blackwell's closing are encouraged to immediately contact the Labor Cabinet's Division of Wages and Hours. Well, I've been out of town for a couple of days, and you can't come through Sagersville, McGoffin County without fearing there's a traffic change because they happen nearly daily on some stretch of the Mountain Parkway expansion project. It's not in McGoffin County, but just a little FYI. If you, as many of our residents do, travel the Mountain Parkway headed east or west at Kentucky exit 53 in Wolfe County, prepare for a major sudden traffic change coming up as work continues on the pavement and bridge rehabilitation project. That's between Stillwater and Halichiwa. This Thursday, through traffic on the Mountain Parkway is going to be diverted onto the exit ramps at the Kentucky 1010 interchange, and also the 1010 overpass is going to be closed Thursday and Friday to allow the construction of temporary connectors to allow all the through traffic to use the ramps as a temporary detour. So Kentucky 1010 traffic is going to be unable to proceed beyond the Mountain Parkway overpass on Thursday and Friday, and northbound traffic on 1010 will be required to enter the eastbound Mountain Parkway and can use Kentucky 205 and 191 to reach Hazel Green. Southbound will be required to enter the westbound Mountain Parkway and use 191 and 1812. Once the work is complete this Friday, Kentucky 1010 will reopen to through traffic via the Mountain Parkway ramps and temporary turning lanes. A host of headlines that we will cover tonight include a structure fire reported in McGoffin County last night, fortunately saved by someone who saw smoke and some family who got there quickly with a water hose just shortly before the fire department arrived. A man charged with burglary and other serious offenses who threatened to kill a Johnson County homeowner because he thought he was Jesus. Two men, including one from Sagersville, indicted on federal drug charges, and a friend of ours, who's of course a friend to anyone who hikes or frequents the Red River Gorge, found himself being rescued over the course of the weekend. We'll start with all that and more, a new calendar, and a great-looking forecast right after this. Did you know that with the IGA Personal Rewards Card, real people are getting really big discounts on gas? Just sign up at IGA, and from then on, for every $50 you spend on groceries, you get anywhere from 5 to 25 cents off on each gallon of gas you buy at VIP Fuels on the Parkway. This customer saved $1.75 a gallon, and some have paid only 10 cents a gallon for 15 gallons of gas. And it's quick because your points stack up. And most weeks, IGA has double, triple, or even 5 times the points. And they'll give you another 10 cents off every time you share your receipt on the IGA Facebook page showing you've saved. From brakes, exhaust, suspension, fluid changes, to expert collision and auto body, to turning your 4x4 or diesel from mild to wild, get real auto maintenance, paint, and repair at Black Smoke Performance in Dixie of Sagersville. 349-8785. Just like that, we've jumped into the spring allergy season with all the buds and blooms, tree and grass pollen, mold, and all the nasal congestion, sneezing, itchy nose and eyes and throat that they cause. Don't get caught off guard. Protect yourself daily with a quick trip to Parkway Pharmacy for over-the-counter and prescription relief. And you can always log into parkwaypharmacy.com to have your prescriptions ready when you get there at Parkway Pharmacy in Sagersville.
I'm Bill Tinker. I've spent the past 19 years defending insurance companies in car crashes, truck crashes, and slip and falls. Are you involved in a case like that? Is the insurance company giving you the runaround about your medical bills, your benefits, or your lost wages? Contact me at McFarland Tinker Law Office. With our combined experience of over 58 years, we're here ready to work for you.
Appalachian Wireless wants to know if you're tired of settling for a phone you didn't really want because it was more about the cost of the device rather than the phone you really wanted. Well, Appalachian Wireless has the solution, and it's called the Appalachian Advantage. With Advantage, every phone model is back on the table because you only have to pay the taxes on the device you really want. Many of our hottest smartphones are less than $50 up front, then a few extra dollars on your monthly bill. With Appalachian Advantage. Payment agreement is required. See store for complete details.
I spoke with Fire Chief Scott Castle of the Middle Fork Fire Department just a few moments ago via the telephone. He tells me that his department responded to a structure fire last evening and that it ended as well as could, with some damage to the home, but with a home that still stands, thanks to someone who saw some smoke and some family in the fire department who arrived very quickly. Looking at this residence from afar, as these pictures were taken earlier today, it looks as though it is virtually untouched and undamaged. However, Middle Fork Fire Department Chief Scott Castle tells me that there was some significant interior damage to the home. after the fire department was called out shortly after 8 o'clock last night to the residence of Mr. Jeremy Lovely on Craft Creek. Chief Scott Castle tells me that a bystander in the area actually saw smoke coming from Mr. Lovely's home while he was not there, and that they called 911. And also, some family members arrived there quickly and before the fire department and were able to make entry to the residence, get a water hose connected, and get some water on that fire until the fire department arrived, largely saving this home and keeping the fire confined to that area. Castle says while there was no damage to the outside of the structure, the kitchen area, which is where the fire was believed to have began, did suffer serious fire damage, and there was some smoke and water damage to other portions of the home, which Castle hoped was going to be repairable. 2 men, one from McGoffin County, as we turn to other headlines, have been indicted by a federal grand jury for allegedly conspiring to distribute methamphetamine, and they face up to life in prison for selling a significant quantity of meth in both McGoffin and Johnson counties. 34-year-old Tommy Joe Minix of Sagersville and 27-year-old Scott Galen Linville of Lexington both stand accused and jailed on previous charges of conspiring together and with others not named as of right now, to distribute at least 50 grams of methamphetamine, and at least one of them be in the possession of a firearm in the furtherance of a drug trafficking offense. All this goes back to an incident or incidents in early April of 2018 when federal authorities got involved with the investigation. Count 1 of the indictment names both men, Tommy Minix and Scott Galen Linville, saying that on or around April the 9th of last year, they distributed 50 grams or more of crystal methamphetamine. We are unable to find out thus far how much the or more could refer to. We are researching that and will have more details at a later time, but the indictment simply reading 50 grams or more of crystal methamphetamine. The second count of the federal indictment names just Minix, who was said to have been in possession of a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking offense. Now, there's a forfeiture allegation section of the indictment that says both men were believed to have possessed, used, or intended several items, all weapons, to be used in the facilitation of the sale of methamphetamine: a Taurus 9mm, a High Point 9mm, an Interms 380, a Henry 22 caliber, and a Sig 40 caliber, and various rounds of ammunition that were seized from them both on April the 9th of last year. Authorities also took more than $1,300 in cash from Minix and more than $300 in cash from Linville. As for the time they face, for count 1, both men face from 5 to 40 years in prison and up to a $5 million fine. However, if there's a prior serious drug felony conviction, which we know Minix has at least, that goes up to 10 years in prison to life, and no more than an $8 million fine and 8 years of supervised release. Count 2 carries 5 years to life to be served consecutive to any term of imprisonment imposed or any other offense. Tommy Minix is now confined in the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center, where he has been since March the 4th of this year on charges of trafficking in methamphetamine unrelated to this case, and we have reported him named in previous indictments for trafficking and other charges in McGoffin and Johnson counties, while Linville is currently lodged in the Franklin County Detention Center on charges of arson in the 3rd degree, unlawful access to a computer in the 1st degree, theft of identity of another person, and a fraudulent firearm transaction. Linville being 27 years of age and we believe from the Lexington area. Both men are ordered to be transported from their current facilities to federal court in Pikeville on the first day of August before Magistrate Judge Edward B. Atkins. A couple of other headlines making news tonight. Right now, your McGoffin Farm Bureau community calendar making news, if you will, with a birthday wish to kick it off this Monday. Birthday wishes kick off tonight's McGoffin Farm Bureau community calendar, and they're belated because they were for Friday, and of course I wasn't here because of the holiday, so now a bit belated to still a very special daughter, it says, to my daughter Sammy Likens. Happy 20th birthday from Mom, brothers, grandmother Wanda Likens, Papa Morrison Prater, and Eric, and a long list of family and friends on what was her birthday this past Friday. Happy 20th to Sammy Likens. I've got distribution dates for the Water into Wine Food Pantry all this month of July. Water into Wine over at the Lakefront Church of God will be distributing each Wednesday of this month. This Wednesday the 10th, the next Wednesday the 17th, the Wednesday after that on the 24th, 9 a.m. till noon each Wednesday. And the July Senior Day has been set for Thursday the 18th, 12:30 till 3. And a reminder, clients can only pick up one food box per month at the pantry. That's Wednesdays, 9 till noon, and Senior Day, Thursday the 18th, 12:30 until 3:30. And you're invited to join them for some blessed gospel music and entertainment as the Cornerstone Singers are going to be performing at the Elk Creek Free Will Baptist Church this Saturday evening starting at 6 o'clock. And this is your personal and special invitation. And this is your reminder about basketball camp coming up at the Montgomery County High School. This is for boys and girls. Head coach Scott Castle of the boys program, and a lot of players will be assisting the Montgomery County basketball camp for ages 6 to 17. It starts next week on the 15th, which is Monday, and it goes through Thursday, 9 till 12:30 each day at the high school. It's just $50 per camper or player all week. That covers the whole 4 days. Offensive fundamentals, shooting, ball handling, footwork, rebounding, and much, much more. Contact Coach Castle if you have any questions, or just come there that morning of July the 15th, next Monday, and sign up and be a part of camp. That's once again ages 6 to 17. And be a part of our community calendar at any time for anything, just about birthdays and anniversaries too. All you have to do is tell me so I can tell everyone else about it. And moving on to this Monday's funeral service announcements, provided nightly by the Montgomery County Funeral Home. Services were held over the course of the holiday weekend yesterday for 54-year-old Carolyn Bolin of Buffalo, who passed away in the 3rd. Carolyn was the daughter of Pauline Bolin and the late John Grover Bolin, and besides her mom, she's survived by her brother, Jeffrey Bolin, and sisters Cora Bolin, Janetta Hurd, Tammy Cottle, and Jennifer Bates. Once again, services held here in Sagersville yesterday in her honor. And 71-year-old Carolyn Sue Davis of Sagersville passed away on the 5th, preceded in death by her husband Otis. She survived by her son Rodney Branham and daughters Trina Lawson and Jennifer Branham. Visitation is tonight, and services begin tomorrow morning at 11, all from the Montgomery County Funeral Home. Burial will be at the Annie Young Cemetery in Pikeville. Getting the best deal on the best tires with the best service has never been easier. Just log on to ConleyTire.net, check out the latest rebates, sales, and promotions, pick out the tires you want, and email, call, or come by. For huge savings from the family who's been proudly serving the area for over 32 years. Conley Tire in Staffordsville, 297-2424. Founded in 1974 on the idea that we all deserve and need the very best in medical services and patient-oriented care, but at reasonable prices we can afford, Big Sandy Healthcare and Hope Family Medical Center have also put together a team of professionals and providers, all at one location, all with you and your family in mind. With pharmacy, dental, lab and x-ray, pediatrics, adult medicine, behavioral health, and more. Come see us for anything at Hope Family Medical Center in Sayersville. We've got 2 extra special treats for you right now for a limited time at your Sayersville Lee's Famous Recipe. We've got all new milk chocolate chunk and white chunk macadamia cookies for a little extra treat after your meal. And back for a limited time, our famous loaded potato wedges. That's right, our fresh made potato wedges, cheese and bacon, and a side of sour cream if you want. For a limited time, only at your Sayersville Lee's Famous Recipe. If you haven't stopped by the seasonal shop lately, you're missing out. They've got new arrivals weekly and great deals every day, and the entire store has a fresh new look. Summer's here and the seasonal shop is ready for fun, sun, and the cutest clothes. They've got outfits for any special occasion you might have on your calendar or casual outfits for any day of the week. So come in and let them help you select the perfect outfit, and don't forget the jewelry. They've got a large selection of some of the most unique jewelry in the area, and they've got everything you need for your pool or beach days with bright, beautiful cover-ups and caftans, sunglasses, towels, and hats. And new patchwork Kentucky hats with a heart over Sayersville are the perfect way to keep the sun off your face at Fraser's Prater Drugs Seasonal Shop. Of course, you can always get guaranteed great deals this time of year on mowers and weed eaters and blowers, but right now at Parkway Gun and Pawn, they've also got an incredible selection of hand and power tools, guitars, and musical instruments just in, new and used, long and handguns, and ammunition and more, with no pawn limits and cash today on anything you want to sell or pawn. Parkway Gun and Pawn. At Sagersville National Bank, they know your house is much more than your home. It's an investment, and for many of us, the biggest we'll ever make. And whether it's for needed repairs and maintenance, or a new addition or renovation to give you some more room and more equity, let Sagersville National Bank deal with all the financial work and worry. Real and real competitive, hometown, homegrown, home improvement loans at Sagersville National. Police believe the following man was high on crystal meth that he had in his possession when he threatened to kill a man in Johnson County after breaking into that man's home and threatening to take his life because he thought he was Jesus. That man is 31-year-old Zachary Cochran of River, who is still in the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center on charges of burglary in the first degree and possession of a controlled substance in the first degree for methamphetamine and unlawful imprisonment in the first degree, all felony charges. The Johnson County Sheriff's Department says they arrested Cochran after he broke into a home holding that resident at knife point. It all happened Sunday morning on Middle Fork in Johnson County when he reportedly broke through the back door of the residence, went into the kitchen, and grabbed a large, sharp kitchen knife, and then threatened the man who lived there with his life. Cochran telling that man that he thought he was Jesus and he was going to kill him. After an unknown amount of time, the victim, unidentified as of right now, was able to get free, fled the residence on foot, ran to a neighbor's, and was able to call authorities. Cochran was still there when they got there, and they found a small quantity of crystal methamphetamine in his possession, charging him with that possession count, of course, burglary and unlawful imprisonment, while the Johnson County Sheriff's Department continues their investigation. This next story is about a longtime personal friend of mine who was seriously injured over the holiday weekend, seen here on Your News Today over the course of many years on numerous occasions in his capacity as chief of the Wolfe County Search and Rescue Department. John May found himself being rescued, and some would argue probably not. Most everyone would agree that he cheated death after responding to help a lost hiker with his team on Thursday, the 4th of July. That injured member of the Wolfe County Search and Rescue Team turned out to be its chief, John R. May from Campton, who was actually last seen here on Your News Today while covering search and rescue efforts for little Kenneth Howard here in Magoffin County. May seen here in this video organizing his team for a daily search during those operations. But it was this past Thursday on the 4th of July when the Wolfe County Search and Rescue Team got a call of 3 lost hikers who had some pre-existing medical conditions, were also out in the heat and suffering from some complications. They were actually able to find those 3 relatively quickly, got them some water, and got them out of their location and to safety. But just as they were wrapping up, they got another call of another lost hiker somewhere in the Chimney Top area and Half Moon Arch. And once they located that hiker, they set up a rappel operation and started their descent. And while doing so, Chief May experienced a very fast free fall. We're talking about going down a 200-foot cliff. And about halfway down, his gear gave way, and he essentially went into a free fall situation. John told me he essentially lost control of his speed and ended up going through a large tree and landing on his back. He thinks he lost consciousness at least for a few minutes, but quickly woke back up, realized he should not move at all, and asked for the assistance of their team's medic, Michael Hackett, who was on scene. And for the next several moments, May himself watched firsthand as the rest of his team acted heroically in retrieving him from his dire situation. John ended up with 2 fractured vertebrae in his neck and some really serious rope burns to both hands. John, like other members of the Wolfe County Search and Rescue Team, wears very thick leather gloves with the fingers exposed so they can tie their knots and ropes. However, his fall was so fast and so hard that he still received serious burns through those gloves. while the rest of his team was able to get to him, get him in a Stokes basket, get him out of the area, and get him to the hospital safe, where he is expected to make a full recovery at home now. And since all of this is over with and this all turned out for the best, they've been able to go back and try to figure out the problem. One of the rappel devices that they used was designed to be used on a 10-millimeter rope without adding the pin, they call it, used for a smaller diameter rope. Well, they believe that with John's body weight and his equipment all adding up, stretching that rope just a bit, it decreased its diameter, and the device wouldn't adequately stop his descent. And after he got about halfway down, he essentially went into that free fall. Doctors telling him that he shouldn't have survived. Once again, May is at home with his wife Kathy and their little girl Maddie and their new dog Murphy, recovering, and we're glad to be able to report that. And he's already making plans to get back to the team as soon as possible. And like I said, just catching up with a lot of headlines today, a lot of folks to interview, and a lot of big stories to come out this week, starting as soon as tomorrow. Look for those then. For now, let's look at a very short and sweet forecast, powered by Licking Valley RACC. Yeah, a little heat and a little humidity, but definitely mostly dry conditions throughout most all of your following forecast. Yeah, short is most always sweet when you're talking about the weather forecast, and this one's a pretty tight one tonight. Not much to it, so let's just get to it. A light northeast wind this evening, a low of around 67 degrees, and partly cloudy skies. A beautiful end to a beautiful Monday in the neighborhood. Temperatures are going to hang tough into the mid, more so upper 90s for at least the first half of the week before they ebb just a bit. Tomorrow, 87, mostly sunny degrees, 68 tomorrow night, nothing more than partly cloudy skies. Shower chances will creep their way back into the forecast late Wednesday night after an 89-degree, mostly sunny midweek day, 70 for nighttime lows. Thursday, we're going to hold on to around 87, maybe 88 degrees. Still mostly sunny. Slightly increased chance of showers and thunderstorms to the tune of 40% pretty much from late morning on throughout your Thursday and really until about 9 o'clock Thursday night. But those shower chances, essentially from late Wednesday night to Thursday night, are the only ones I've got for you pretty much in your entire forecast period. Friday, temperatures back off to about 85, mostly sunny, mostly clear, before they go back up to 89 and stay into the upper 80s from there on out. Saturday, sunny and mostly clear, mostly sunny and clear, and 89 on your Sunday, and 87, mostly sunny. I'm going to leave that 20% chance of showers in there for late Monday night, but I'm a little iffy on that, and it's so far out, not going to sweat too much about it right now. So we'll call it pretty much high and dry throughout most of your forecast, once again, except for Wednesday night through Thursday night. Not too shabby. And that's a wrap just for now. I'll be back here in less than 24 hours for the next edition of Your News Today. Good night, good Monday, and thanks for watching.